YouTube. I may be posting this on other platforms, so if you're not on YouTube, just go with it. We are here, we're doing a live. We were just talking about something in the car that we thought was interesting and we wanted to share it with you guys. We are back from Key West. We were there for a week and got back last night. Excited to be home, have had a great time. It's kind of a business pleasure trip. We were doing a little bit of work, a lot of work actually, and having a lot of fun in the process. But do me a favor, drop me a comment, let me know that you can see and hear me okay. We don't go live on YouTube very often. I'm actually kind of experimenting to see if this platform gets more views than Facebook, and to go live here and then maybe repost it there. So anyway, drop me a comment, let us know where you're watching from, let us know if you can see and hear us okay. And even if you're watching the replay, I would really appreciate if you comment it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So all right, we're gonna share the thing that we were talking about, and then we'll catch you up on some life stuff that's happening before the end of it. So what we were talking about was, okay, so I made a post the other day, and I'm going to try not to dominate this conversation because I tend to talk a lot. I made a post the other day about how understanding the permissibility, the biblical permissibility of polygyny, took a lot of the fear out of the decision to marry Sana. She's amazing. I said in the post, I said my wife is literally amazing, but I'd be lying if I said that knowing that this was biblically permissible didn't help me make the decision a little bit easier and a little bit faster. And one of the things I said is we waited till marriage to have sex, and we met and married within 8 months of meeting each other. Met and married within 8 months. And that's something that most Christians can't boast. Most Christians don't wait. It's a very small percentage of even Christians that wait, under 10%. And most don't marry fast, not that fast anyway, not within 8 months. And it did. It took a lot of the fear out. And so people, of course, you know, we had critics in the comments, and one of the people were saying, well, just say that you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out, you know, like basically trying to say, you know, I'm kind of keeping a door open to get out of the marriage, or maybe I don't love her as, you know, as much as someone that would commit to monogamy. And Sana made an interesting point, and I'm gonna let you actually explain it because you'll probably do a better job of it than me.
So yeah, so when I read that, I was thinking most men, I feel like a lot of men actually are, even if they wouldn't admit it, they are like a little bit more scared of marriage, and the fact that they can have more than one wife will, exactly what you said, like it will make them go through the decision process a lot faster. And what I brought up was, well, one of the main reasons is that for men, the commitment is what attaches them.
Yes, it's biologically proven that commitment is what attaches men, not sex, commitment.
Exactly. So I was thinking, like, it's people act as if that's like a fault on men's part. They'll be like, oh, you're not one for the, you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But I feel a lot of men, up to the point that they actually fully commit, are feeling that way. So it's not, and that's because of the way that they are wired. Like I said, like it's the same for women. Women do have hesitations too, I'm sure, and they have a thought process and a whole process that they go through leading up to commitment,
Which comes from sex.
Yeah, but the same thing is that once they have sex, a lot of that disappears. So, but for men, it's not the same. For men, it doesn't work that way. Men don't commit through sex the same way that women do.
They don't connect through sex. So this is all biologically proven. Actually, Dawn Masler, she endorsed my book. She has a fascinating TED Talk that I recommend called How Your Brain Falls in Love. And she studied, you know, she's a biologist, and she studied the human brain, and what she found is women attach when they have sex, and men attach not when we have sex, when we commit. So for me, I always thought something was wrong with me because I would have sex with a girl and I would lose interest in her. It was like the moment I ejaculated, all feeling was gone for her. And I thought, you know, maybe I'm incapable of love, or this is biology. So like when a woman, you know, women are 1 foot in and 1 foot out until they have sex. I mean, usually when a woman has sex, she wants to marry that man. Very often, not always, but very often. And when a man commits, then he's not leaving that relationship. So the woman says, you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out. No, the polygyny got me to make the decision. But once I made the decision and I committed, I was 2 feet in. You don't see, even if you study the numbers, and numbers don't lie, 80% of divorces are followed not by men, by women. Because once the man commits, he's attached. He's in it. He's not leaving. So her point, which was a very good one, was, yeah, it got you to make the decision a little easier, but the moment that you made the decision, you're all in. And she's 100% right. Divorce isn't even in our vocabulary.
I think in fact, actually, for men, I think what I said, like, it pushes them earlier to the decision, or it pushes them to the decision. So will that make that way easier? Yeah, like you said, and once that they are committed, or once they made that decision and they are fully committed, then they are more committed after marriage. I think that's a very
100%.
important point to make, is that yes, leading up to it, there's a little bit more uncertainty and a little bit more 1 foot in, 1 foot out for most men, but it will make it easier with polygyny on the table. And then once they do commit, they are more in, because the marriage does make them commit.
Absolutely. Do you all understand what we're saying here? If you agree with what we're saying, drop a number 1 in the comments. If you disagree, put a number 2. If you think, no, men aren't more attached or more committed after they get married, then put the number 2 there. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. But again, going back to studies, this is all kind of proven. So that was basically what we had a conversation about the other day, and thought that we'd share. We thought it was very interesting. My wife has got a Telegram group for any ladies out there that are exploring this. Maybe you're just learning more about it. Maybe you've never even heard this. To be honest, Sana had never heard this before. You know, she was dating a guy. She was in a almost 20-year relationship with a guy that wasn't a believer, and she never even heard of biblical polygyny, right? So there's a lot of people out there, and they've heard of polyamory, but they've never heard of polygyny, biblical polygyny, how you can do this God's way. If you don't do it God's way, you're probably going to have problems. You are going to have problems because you're outside of his design. He's the person that wired all of us. You know, he knows our human nature better than anybody.
Very different too. Polyamory.
Yeah, it's very different. So if you want to learn more about it, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Telegram link. Actually, I'm going to put her Instagram link in the comments, because there is a step between joining the Telegram group, between where you're at now and joining the Telegram group. You have to send her a short video just so she knows who you are. But if you want to learn more about this, she's got a great group of ladies that are exploring it. Some of them are already practicing it. Some of them are just, some of them are pursuing it already, but they're not practicing it yet. So we'll put her Instagram link. And then if you want to start a free 7-day trial of my program, I have about 15 to 20 guys that are Christians, love Jesus, but they are aware of the truth of biblical polygyny, or some of them are new to it and they're just learning more about it. But we do a free 7-day trial where you can come in, you can kind of kick the tires on the course, you can attend a group coaching call. This Thursday, we have Joe Brown, who runs Heresy Financial. If you don't know who he is, you can check out his YouTube channel. He's a very smart guy. He's helped us a lot with our investments. And he's going to come in and teach the guys how to be financially free. So we're looking forward to that this Thursday. But if you want to start a free 7-day trial, I'll post the link in the comments. There's actually some people that are commenting. We'll go through these in a second. But yeah, that's pretty much all we had for today. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, because it helps more people see this. And again, if you're watching live or you're watching the replay, let us know where you're watching from, and let us know if you agree with what we said. So, okay, Joseph Amodio said, that's the only reason I'm in a committed relationship, because of polygyny. It's the only reason he's in a committed relationship. I hope you guys convert to Eastern Orthodoxy, because Hebrew roots is not it. So I actually, Joseph, I've been to Mount Athos, which is the Orthodox capital of the world. Went to a bunch of monasteries there, and have a lot of experience with Orthodoxy. It's not for me. It's too ritualistic. I'm more like spirit-led. And not to say Protestants get everything right, because they're way off too. But Orthodoxy isn't my thing. But look, if it works for you, man, God bless you. We'll all be in heaven together, I believe. But Joseph said that that's the only reason he's in a committed relationship. And yeah, they don't, he said, yeah, that's insane that you went there. They don't usually let people that aren't Orthodox go to the island. I was actually in Romania for a book I wrote about saving sex for marriage, ironically. And I was doing a little book tour, and they were able to get me, I was able to get an invitation through that. But, you know, I made a short video today about, I don't know if you all saw that Megan Byron response statement. So Megan Byron was the woman that's married to Andy Byron, and the guy that the Coldplay concert, and she did a statement, an official statement she put out. And I think it's been verified. I'm not 100% if it's even legit, but it basically is, you know, a lot of people are applauding her because she's gonna rake this guy over the coals, and she's gonna take half his money, and he's already stepped down from his job. And the point I made in the video was like, this is why men aren't getting married anymore, right? Like, we think that we're doing women this big, you know, huge service by treating men like this, when really it's nature. Now look, that woman was married, and I do not condone adultery, but if she was single, this would not be grounds for that woman to leave. Okay, much less take half of his stuff and the kids. But this is what happens when you do this to men and you treat them like they're going to treat this guy, is you just scare men out of marriage. They're like, nope, I'm not.
Plus, they can already sleep with women.
Yeah,
I mean,
they can already get all the benefits of the marriage. Why are they gonna put their balls on the chopping block and potentially let you take half of what they worked their entire life for? Now look, maybe she was there from the beginning, and I'm not saying she doesn't deserve something, but men aren't marrying anymore because they can smell a trap when they see one. They can sense this is a trap, and they're not doing it anymore. And the people that suffer the most are the women and the children. When men check out a marriage, the people that are going to suffer are going to be the women and the children, not the men. The men will be okay because they're still going to be able to go out and have sex and do whatever, but the women are not going to be covered. And women need a covering. You know, like, this is all biblical stuff. A lot of people say, you know, single women, Jesus is my husband. That's not biblical. Show me a verse that says that. You are supposed to be under the authority of a man. First your father, and then the man comes and asks your father to marry you, and then he takes responsibility for you. These women that are running around single, that's not a biblical, that doesn't come from the Bible. I'm sorry to tell you. But back to what I was saying is, by trying to enforce monogamy, force monogamy, nothing wrong with monogamy. I may never take another. I don't know, but I'm allowed to because the Bible tells me I'm allowed to. So, but you're trying to, when you force monogamy on people, all you do is scare men out of marriage, and then the women and children suffer. So I'm sorry, I went on a rant there. What do you have to say to that, baby?
I don't know.
Anything?
No, I'm good. Let's go through the
Okay,
comments.
all right, we're going to go through the comments, and then we're going to jump off. It says, Oklahoma City is in the house. Nice. Divorced 3 years ago after
43 years.
43 years. Whoa.
Left the third time.
She left the third time, and so I'm single. Well, listen, if she left, you know, hold the door for her is what I would tell you. If you didn't, depending on, you know, the circumstances surrounding her leaving, but one thing that women don't know, and this is something else I got into a conversation about with on Twitter, is there's only two reasons biblically for a woman to leave a man, and that's death or abandonment. That's it. That's the only reason a woman can divorce her husband, is if he dies or he absolutely abandons her.
Or has no sex with her anymore, right?
Well, you know what? That's true. Exodus 21:10. If he denies her sex, if he stops providing for her, says, you know, Exodus 21 says food, clothing, and conjugal rights. If he stops providing her food, clothing, or sex, then that is a biblical grounds for divorce. But other than that, if that woman, if your wife goes on and dates somebody else, marries someone else, or he just even has sex with someone else, she's an adulterer. And the Bible says adulterers don't inherit the kingdom. This is the kind of stuff that the church is not telling people. And when you really start to read the Bible, you realize that the church is full of adulterers. Literally, the churches are packed with people committing adultery, and the church co-signs it. People in their second and third marriages, and you know, the woman left because she was being emotionally abused, or maybe the guy stepped out on her. But that's, I'm sorry to say it, you might not like this, that's not biblical grounds for divorce. Show me the chapter and verse. It is for the man if the man steps out, but it's not for the woman. Now the man should marry any woman that he's sleeping with, but this is where polygyny comes in. So, yeah. Am I off topic? A little bit? Okay. Let's see. My only argument would be that, this is Joseph again, that the liturgical style of worship is more masculine style of worship and puts a lot less pressure on attendees. Okay. It's unfortunate that Catholicism doesn't have the full patriarchal understanding of what is lawful in a marriage. No, they don't. This is what surprises people, that all this stuff was only changed about, what, in 1500 AD? All this stuff with marriages and monogamy only. Cyrus is here. What's up, Cyrus? Allie Sires. Hey, Allie. Allie's writing a book on polygyny. A female writing a book on polygyny. We definitely want to support you when that comes out, Allie. If you want me to read it and endorse it, I would love that. She said, the church lied to me from the time I was 13 to 41 before I got in a polygynous marriage. Yep. I don't even know if they're necessarily lying on purpose. I think a lot of people, the pastors, are just parroting what has been told to them without actually researching it. But I will say this. I was on X the other day, and I was just scrolling through my feed, and so many people are talking about Christian polygamy right now. Andrew Tate was going back and forth with Matt Walsh, and there was other people. Glenn Lawrence posted something, and Gia McCool posted something. This topic is heating up. People's eyes are being opened. We are literally seeing the fulfillment of Isaiah 4:1 right before our eyes, where 7 women take hold of one man. That day is coming, and this is the beginning stages of it. So I would just, anybody out there that is aware of this, just keep screaming it from the rooftops. Just shout it from the rooftops, because it's gaining traction. God's doing the work right now. This is I think the person that left, had the wife that left. She didn't like any tone of voice. She didn't like my tone of voice I got of her church. And so did seen other men. I'm sorry, I didn't really understand that. Kicked out. Okay, I'm trying to red pill my priest. Joseph said, do it, dude. Yeah, we were just talking about finding a church. We might visit Costa Rica, and I'm like, I'm gonna have a conversation with the pastor at this church we found down there, and just tell him that, this is what I believe. Go through the scriptures with him and see what he has to say. The crazy thing is I think a lot of the pastors will see this, and they'll even admit that it's not a sin, but they won't talk about it because they know they'll lose half their congregation. And that, to me, is messed up, because you are literally putting money over God. Michael Rawson, I'm sorry, I can't read that well. South Dakota here. Came to polygyny in 2013. First wife of 20 years is debating on asking to be released because I want to pursue a second, being patient with her. Shalom. Oh, that's a great point. You had said something like, the goal here isn't to blow up your family, right? You don't want to be like, this is my right, and I'm gonna go do this, and I can.
Yeah, it's not a power play. You shouldn't use it as a pure power play, because that's gonna blow up your marriage. It's if anything, if you believe it, it will put everything in the right order. Like Rob said, like, he might not even ever have a second. We don't know, but the fact that he can will put everything in the right order. Like, it will submit me under him, which is a good thing. But he's not using it as some sort of threat against me, or like a power play, or being like, oh, if you don't do this, then I'm gonna step out. And like that would not be a good thing between us either. That would be very strenuous on our marriage.
Yes.
So
it actually all ties back to the mission. That's something else she asked. She's like, are you feeling dissatisfied? I'm like, no, because if I wanted to, achieve polygyny, I could just go do it. I mean, I'd go out, I'd be, a little bit more on the hunt, so to speak. But I'm like, for me, it's all about the mission, and that's what it has to go back to for the man. Like, are we going to get there faster? Are we going to get, a higher likelihood that we reach the goal if we take on a second? Does she have some particular skill sets and talents that are going to help us, get to the promised land a little faster? That's what it's about for a man. It's about the mission. It's not about, getting your rocks off or even an ego stroke. It's about, can we get to the promised land a little bit faster? Can we go further and faster with the help of this person? If God brings a woman in like that, yeah, we're going to do it. But until then, like I said, I'm going to stay picky and patient. Okay, so let's just see if there's anything else. And I will add one last thing to that. Just to Michael, you know, a woman shouldn't have veto power. I don't believe that a woman has veto power over whether you actually pull the trigger on this, because if God leads you to do it, then you have to do it, regardless of what the woman says. But the last thing you also want is to blow up your family, right? So I believe God doesn't want, he hates divorce, so he's not gonna, you know, orchestrate a woman coming into your family that ultimately ends in divorce and a family to split. I don't believe. But you got to be really sure too that this is God leading you to it, and it's not just a selfish desire. That's something we talked about last Thursday on the group coaching call, and how it's, you know, God's will always has to be first, and you always got to hold every opportunity with an open hand. Like, is this what you want from me, God? Because like when you learn about this, it's really easy to want to just grab it and take it, right? Because you know, oh, it's not a sin. Oh, great, let me go get it. But you got to hold it with an open hand. Keep your standards high. You know. Anyway, this is also
like I can totally see like why women, if you're, I think he said he was 20 years married, and then they brought, I mean, that's a, yeah, it's good you have some patience on your wife too, because it's a huge, if you both got married on a monogamy and now that's changing, that's gonna be a huge thing for her to wrap her mind around that. So and it's definitely not impossible. She could definitely come around and like have her come to my group too, like have her learn stuff if she's open to it. But
absolutely, you got to be careful. If you made a vow to forsake all others, then you got a little bit of a bind there. And this is something that we actually talk about in the course in the community, is how to, you know, get your vows revoked, basically, where you know there's a letter that you sign, and then she signs it. Basically, she releases you from your vows because you made them in ignorance. But you know, you don't want to just break your vows, because the Bible's pretty clear about that too. It's like, you know, let your yes be yes, and not making vows that you're not going to keep. So yeah, anyway, again, I'll put the link to the course, the 7-day free trial, in the program, in the comments of this after we jump off. Okay, he said, what do you mean by the promised land? The promised land, so I believe that everybody has a personal promised land, a place that God wants to take you. You know, like we all start off in Egypt. We're in slavery. You know, we're in slavery to bad habits, maybe different sin that enslave us. Maybe we're enslaved by a job that we hate. We're doing something that we know we weren't created to do. We have this dream, this skill set, this idea to start this business or write the book or whatever the thing is, and that's our promised land. But God's going to take you through a wilderness. First thing you're going to have to do is leave Egypt. You might have to, you know, jump at some point and do some scary things that don't make sense because God's leading you to do it. And it's unfamiliar, and God's, you know, takes you, it's the same process that he did with the Israelites. But eventually, if you know, you jump, like Steve Harvey talks about, and you continue to walk and trust God, you will reach a personal promised land. Right now, I'm living in some level of mine. I'm not everywhere I want to be, but I have a beautiful wife, and I got a coaching program, and I got a, you know, platform, and I got some of the things, but I had to work for those things. They didn't just happen. And, you know, sometimes the wilderness is very uncomfortable. You know, like, and you're having to trust God just for your, you know, your daily bread, the manna from heaven. And it's like that, but that grows your faith. So by the time you do get in the promised land, you're ready for it, you know? So that's what I mean, if that makes sense.
You know, God brought you there too, and it wasn't yourself, right?
That's absolutely, yeah. What if God is using the woman to tell you and speak to you through? I'm not sure what that means. Agreed, it is her value that drives my patience. She released me from it, the vows he's talking about. Eisegesis. What's eisegesis, Kenneth? Someone said, Rob, glad to join your, this is Christian. What's up, man? Glad to join your live for the first time. Glad to have you, Christian. That's it. We're going to do these a little bit more often, so I'm not going to, this doesn't have to be super long. We're going to try to do these a little bit more regular. But if you, anything you want us to talk about, maybe there's a specific topic or a question that you have, please drop it in the comments, because that'll really help us know what to talk about on future videos. But again, if you're a woman out there and you're interested in learning more about this, I'm going to put Sana's Instagram link. I'll pin it to the top comment, and then I'm going to put the 7-day free trial to the Man of Options program. Again, it's growing. Usually get 1 or 2 people join every week, and it's a great group. You know, there's people that, again, have been practicing this for a while, and they've already made some mistakes and are teaching some of the rest of us. things. And I've teach a lot of the guys that are in the program some of the high performance coaching things that I've learned along the way. I've worked with a lot of life coaches over the last 14 years, 15 years. And, you know, really the main thing for a man, if you're pursuing this, is you got to get clear on your vision. You got to get clear on your mission and your vision. Purpose before person. That's one of the main things that we go over early in the course, because God probably isn't going to give you a helpmate or additional helpmates unless you need them, right? Unless you're getting after it. You know what it is, and you're getting after it, and then God will provide the Eve or the Eves to get to the goal faster. That's what we believe. So anyway, hope this helped you guys. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.